what if the empath you trust most knows you better than you know yourself and uses that inside knowledge to reshape you? That question sits at the heart of this video because it exposes a paradox. Empathy, widely celebrated as the glue of humane relationships, can, at a rare level of development, become a tool of subtle power. I call that threshold the Sophia Stage, a small subset of empaths who combine exceptional perceptual acuity with sustained reflective detachment. At that level, attunement is no longer merely receptive. It becomes an active architecture for anticipating, steering, and sometimes reshaping another person's inner life. This matters because influence dressed as care is easy to miss. When deep attunement inhabits positions of intimacy, leadership, or cultural authority, the consequences extend beyond awkward conversations into long-term changes in agency, preference, and self-concept. Social psychological evidence and clinical case patterns point to how skilled perspective-taking enables prediction and targeted persuasion. Clinical anecdotes and organizational studies show how emotionally savvy individuals can guide group norms and personal choices without appearing coercive. The risk is not dramatic coercion, but a slow reconfiguration of someone's felt priorities, harm that is often normalized as insight, mentorship, or benevolence. Over the next video sections, I'll narrate this argument step by step. First, I'll map empathy as a developmental spectrum, so the Sophia Stage sits in context. Then I'll unpack the perceptual, cognitive, and regulatory mechanisms that make such empaths unusually influential. After that, I'll show why that influence can be dangerous in intimate and public spheres, weigh supporting evidence and plausible objections, and finally reframe how we should recognize and respond to advanced empathic power. The goal is not to vilify empathy, but to sharpen our attention, to treat emotional expertise as a form of influence that warrants scrutiny whenever it operates behind closed doors. Number 1. Mapping empathy, from reactive to Sophia. Think of empathy less as a single gift and more as a stacked skill set, a 3-layer spectrum that clarifies how ordinary attunement differs from something rarer and more consequential. At the base is reactive or emotional empathy, the automatic resonance that makes you flinch when someone else flinches, a kind of mirror that reflects feeling back. The middle layer is cognitive empathy, what researchers often call perspective-taking or theory of mind, the ability to hold another person's mental state as a distinct model and reason about their beliefs, intentions, or likely reactions. Sitting above both is integrative or reflective empathy, where affective resonance and cognitive modeling are woven into a regulated, sustained capacity to simulate, anticipate, and intentionally shape another person's emotional trajectory rather than merely share it. Most people carry the first 2 layers to varying degrees. Relatively few move reliably into the third. There are practical and biological limits. Sustained reflective empathy demands cognitive bandwidth, emotional regulation, and practice that ordinary social life rarely trains. Social roles and incentives matter too. Workplaces and relationships often reward quick perspective-taking and emotional mirroring, not the slower meta-level work of keeping an internal model running in real time. The result is a developmental bottleneck. Many stop at accurate cognitive empathy. They understand others, but far fewer develop the continuous integration that lets someone map and modulate another person's inner world as it unfolds. That upper tier is what I mean by the Sophia Stage, and it can be operationalized with testable markers. A Sophia Stage empath shows extreme perspective-taking, high-fidelity predictions about someone's next emotional moves, anticipatory modeling, creating and updating internal simulations that forecast decisions, and calibrated emotional modulation, the ability to up or down regulate another's affect without becoming emotionally entangled. Crucially, they demonstrate meta-empathic detachment, low personal distress alongside high interpersonal sensitivity. In practice, these features look measurable: above chance accuracy on micro-expression and intention prediction tasks, reliable success at shifting another person's mood or choice in controlled influence experiments, and physiological signatures of regulation, stable heart rate variability while engaged, which makes the Sophia Stage more than a poetic label. It's a distinct, testable profile of empathic power. Number 2. The inner mechanics of Sophia Stage empathy. Sophia Stage empaths begin with a sensory advantage. They pick up on the tiny, often unnoticed signals that most people either miss or dismiss: a twitch at the corner of the mouth, a half-beat pause before answering, a slight tightening of the shoulders, or a micro-shift in vocal timing. These are the raw data they collect and integrate. By reading clusters of micro-expressions, prosodic cues, and situational context together, They assemble a continuously updated portrait of someone's moment-to-moment state. That perceptual depth turns anecdote into evidence. Small cues become reliable predictors because the empath treats them as inputs to a live model rather than isolated behaviors. Built atop that perceptual layer is a powerful cognitive architecture. Rich, running simulations of other minds. Think of it as theory of mind turned computational. Sophia empaths generate nested what-if scenarios, simulate likely emotional trajectories, and test which conversational moves will produce which internal shifts. This isn't mere guesswork. It's a disciplined pattern recognition process that anticipates reactions and crafts influence paths, how to phrase a question, which memory to evoke, when to stay silent, so that interactions unfold along predictable lines. The result is not just understanding, but practical foresight. They can often forecast responses several steps ahead and steer conversations toward outcomes that serve their intentions, whether benign or self-serving. Crucial to the whole system is emotional calibration, the capacity to resonate without being consumed. Where reactive empathy tends to blur boundaries and cognitive empathy can feel cold, Sophia Stage empathy marries felt attunement with regulatory distance. These empaths experience others' effects enough to feel their texture, yet maintain physiological and psychological separation that prevents contagion. They can lower or raise someone's arousal, mirror a vulnerable tone to invite disclosure, or softly dampen panic without themselves destabilizing. That containment is what makes their influence so effective and so hard to spot. Regulation masks manipulation by wrapping it in competence and care, a combination that feels intimate even as it subtly reshapes another person's emotional landscape. Number 3, why the Sophia Stage empath is dangerous. When one person reliably anticipates and shapes another's inner life, the relationship stops being symmetrical. Knowledge becomes leverage. In intimate settings, partners, trusted friends, therapists, and mentors, this asymmetry translates into a quiet erosion of agency. If one person can predict how you'll feel, which memories will sway you, and exactly how to nudge your priorities, they can engineer choices that look like yours but are scaffolded by their interventions. Over months and years, those small steering moves accumulate. Preferences harden in the direction the empath favors, doubts are softly resolved, and the person being shaped loses practice in making unguided decisions. The result is not a dramatic takeover so much as a steady shrinking of autonomous inner space. The danger intensifies when empathic skill is intentionally turned into influence rather than support. There's a wide gulf between benign guidance, offering information or perspective, and manipulative restructuring, which subtly reorders someone's felt values and narratives so they choose differently. Sophia Stage empaths don't need overt commands. They use narrative framing, affective anchoring, selective validation, and timely silences to shift what matters to someone at the felt level. This operates below the threshold of conscious deliberation. People adopt new priorities because those priorities feel right in the moment, not because they've critically evaluated them. That's how advanced empathy can weaponize persuasion, by changing not just decisions, but the emotional architecture that makes certain decisions seem natural. Part of what makes this harm so insidious is how well it hides. Emotional expertise clothes manipulation in competence and care, and observers often interpret influence as insight. The empath is praised for reading the room or holding space, while the person being steered explains away discomfort as idiosyncratic resistance or gratitude. Victims frequently rationalize changes as growth, social networks reinforce the empath's authority, and cognitive biases, confirmation, hindsight, make the outcomes seem inevitable in retrospect. Because the moves are incremental, socially legible, and experientially soothing, red flags look like intimacy, and warnings are dismissed as jealousy or misunderstanding. So the very skills that enable deep connection also make the damage quietly invisible. Number 4, evidence, limits, and counterarguments. The Sophia Stage hypothesis rests not on a single anecdote, but on converging lines of evidence that make the construct plausible. Clinicians in forensic case reports occasionally document relationship patterns where one partner or caregiver displays unusually precise emotional manipulation, leaving slow, hard-to-detect harms in their wake. Experimental work in social psychology shows robust effects of emotional contagion, framing, and subtle interpersonal influence. Small cues and well-timed prompts reliably change choices and moods in controlled settings. Complementing these are personality studies that map the behavioral space between prosocial empathy and strategic social exploitation, traits like manipulativeness or Machiavellian orientation. Taken together, these threads suggest a mechanism. If someone pairs microsignal sensitivity with predictive modeling and regulatory control, the capacity to steer others is real and measurable. Still, the model risks overreach if treated as a moral indictment of all skilled attunement. Empathy is overwhelmingly a pro-social force. Most forms of advanced attunement are used for care, leadership, and repair. Labeling rare empathic skills as dangerous without nuance risks stigmatizing therapists, leaders, and emotionally competent people who mean well. That is why the argument above is conditional rather than categorical. The peril arises when three factors converge: high empathic skill, ambiguous or self-serving intent, and social opacity that prevents checks and accountability. Tempering the claim doesn't undercut its importance. It narrows it into a testable hypothesis. Danger is a function of skill times motive times invisibility, not of skill alone. Finally, it's crucial to distinguish the Sophia profile from related but different phenomena like psychopathy or charisma. Psychopathy produces influence through blunted affect, deceit, and a lack of genuine attunement. There's no sustained simulation of the other's inner life, only exploitation. Charisma, meanwhile, is surface-level magnetism that mobilizes followers but doesn't necessarily require granular predictive modeling or calibrated emotional modulation. The Sophia Stage empath is defined by a particular cognitive emotional architecture: high-fidelity internal simulations, sensitive microsignal intake, and robust self-regulation. Importantly, that architecture is morally neutral. It can be deployed for deep healing or for subtle control, so empirical work should focus on differentiating intent and outcomes, predictive accuracy, physiological regulation markers, and longitudinal effects on the autonomy of interpersonal targets, rather than assuming the skill itself is inherently malicious. In closing, risk, in the Sophia Stage framework, is not an accident, but a predictable product of three interacting variables: skill, intent, and opacity. When exceptional empathic skill, high-fidelity perception, predictive simulation, and emotional regulation meet unclear or self-interested motives and operate in contexts with little external scrutiny, the resulting influence can reshape choices, values, and self-concept without obvious coercion. The article has traced how that process works: a perceptual depth that converts microsignals into reliable forecasts, a cognitive architecture that tests and steers emotional trajectories, and a regulatory stance that masks intervention as care. Taken together, these elements make the Sophia Stage plausibly dangerous in the specific, measurable sense that it can produce long-term erosions of autonomy while remaining experientially benign. That conclusion has real implications for how we evaluate emotional expertise. If empathy can be a vector of influence, then we should stop equating attunement automatically with benevolence and begin asking about boundaries, transparency, and accountability wherever great emotional skill is rewarded: in therapy rooms, executive offices, mentorship relationships, and intimate partnerships. This is not a moralizing demand for suspicion, but a call for clearer norms. Who is accountable when influence accrues quietly? What forms of oversight are practicable? And how do we teach emotionally attuned people to pair skill with ethical clarity? Reframing evaluation in these terms protects the many beneficial uses of advanced empathy while making space to detect and redress its abuses. Recognizing the Sophia Stage does not vilify empathy. It sharpens our attention to a specific form of power that often lives in private conversations and quiet moments. Empathy remains vital to human flourishing, but treating emotional competence as a neutral capacity obscures its potential as an instrument of influence. An evidence-grounded awareness of Sophia Stage dynamics preserves empathy's gifts by insisting that we pair emotional skill with visible safeguards so that deep attunement is used as it should be, to expand autonomy and dignity rather than quietly erode them.